What's up? What's up? What's up, you guys? This is I forgot to put my lip back on. This is Love and Marriage Huntsville, season 11, episode 9. I believe is where we are. Now let me say something. Oh shoot. Hey everybody coming in. Hold on, let me put a little lip on. Now let me say something. Let's get into this conversation. We're just gonna jump right on in, honey. We're gonna jump right on in. We're down to the Fletcher's house, right? Chris and Nell, they done invited their daughter over to confront her and find out if she's dating Twan or not. See, Nell, this is what we talk about when we say you be stressing yourself out over these kids because you be putting yourself in situations that you don't have to be in. This is a perfect example. You done called your daughter over there to find out who she's dating. Your daughter is grown. And if she has not, now you just got finished last week saying, don't bring nobody to my house if y'all ain't serious. So the daughter is honest. The daughter said, yeah, well, we've been dating, but honestly, we didn't want to bring it to y'all because we were trying to figure it out. She said we met, we hung out a little bit. That's when we realized that he knew my brother, which didn't make no sense because if this is your godson and he been around the family and he's so close to the family, how she didn't know that he knew Lance? Am I right? Y'all tell me in the chat if I'm wrong. But she was like, well, when we was first hanging out with each other, we were cool. And then we started kind of, we went out on a few dates. And that's when we realized that he was friends with Lance. But I thought he was your godson. I thought y'all was so close. How she didn't know? And she said, well, when we figured it out, that's when we were taking a pause. We said, let's take a step back so we can figure this out and see where we're going with it. So she was like, I really don't even know like how y'all even found out because we weren't even telling nobody about it. So then I thought back to last week's episode when Twan basically told, he basically told Destiny. And I feel like he wanted Destiny to go back and say something because I was like, Twan, nobody was even bringing that up. I could even see if Destiny went to Twan and said, look, I done heard some rumors. What you got going on with the daughter? What you got going on with baby girl? But that's not even how that was happening. Twan came out of nowhere. Him and Destiny were flirting. And then he come out of nowhere talking about, well, yeah, the people said it's people on the streets. And the people on the streets said that I act like that we dating. Nobody asked you. Nobody. Not one person asked whether you were dating that girl. So then Destiny messy ass took it back to Nell. So now here we are with this whole fake ass storyline. Because the way that girl was talking, she wasn't even talking like she really dating that boy. And then when Nell did her normal, I'ma stand up and I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm so disappointed. I'm so upset. I'm so hurt. I'm so disappointed. And she did her whole little performance. Baby, that girl sat there and kept drinking her Kool-Aid like this. Her little lemonade. She kept drinking her little lemonade like. I said, she not even acting like she cared. She didn't say, Mama, no. Well, Mama, let's talk about it. Well, Mama, no. She was like, But Nell, let's assume for a minute this is real because I don't believe none of this. But let's assume for a minute it's real. This is an example of what we keep telling you, that you be stressing yourself out about shit that ain't your business. Who your grown ass daughter is dating is not your business until your grown ass daughter brings you into the conversation. Just like she said, well, me and you were close and we don't lie to each other. She didn't lie to you. She just didn't bring it to you. She didn't lie. She just didn't bring you any information. I'm just like, I I was so confusion by it, and now you all mad and you all worked up, and you didn't like, girl, over something that is not your business. It's not. Who you just got finished yelling at Lance and Chris talking about stop bringing people around until y'all are serious about them. Don't bring nobody around unless y'all serious about them. Here go another situation. The next scene is another situation that now I got to side eye everybody involved. So we have Leticia going to meet up with Kimmy. And of course, Leticia has to tell Kimmy about what happened with her and Destiny. But they talk about Trish is having a party. They going to it. Leticia is telling Kimmy what happened with the argument, with the fight, whatever, and what happened. This scene kind of had me confusion. This scene plus what happened at the actual party had me in confusion. Thank you, Candy. Am I the only one that feel like Kimmy don't know what she said? Because why is Kimmy acting like she don't understand why Tisha and Destiny got into this argument? Because Kimmy is really sitting on the sideline like, what were y'all arguing about? And of course, Leticia, she downplayed her throwing shade because you absolutely showed up throwing shade about the listing. You know what I'm saying? And then, you talked about the argument and what I feel like what Kimmy is trying to say. I feel like Kimmy is trying to make it seem like Destiny's tone and the way she chooses to say things is the problem. And I think Destiny has a tone? Yes, Destiny absolutely has an attitude in the way she speaks. She does. She does have a way of, but that's not new. It's just not new. And if y'all been friends all this time, I just don't understand where it's coming from. Kimmy gives me, she reads a note card before these scenes. Yeah, because listen, when we get to the end of this episode at the daggone drag brunch, baby, Kimmy act like she didn't know nothing about that conversation. She act like, I'm like, Kimmy, you were the one that called Tisha and told Tisha that started this whole argument. And Kimmy act like she didn't know nothing about it. Kimmy was confused because Tisha ran with a narrative that Kimmy didn't tell her. I agree. Which is why I said it sort of make me feel like, wait a minute. Maybe that's not like the way Kimmy is acting. It makes me think that's not what Kimmy told you. You went running to Destiny, Matt. But we found out at the drag brunch what Tisha really meant. We'll get to that. Because all of this, her being mad at Destiny don't have nothing to do with anything that she said this season. Her being mad at Destiny is about something totally different. And it didn't matter what Destiny did. She was going to find a way to have a problem with it. She was going to find a way to have a problem with anything Destiny did because why she's really mad at her. But we'll get to that. But I don't think Kimmy made it seem. I don't think Kimmy reported anything back to Tisha in a nefarious way. I think she was just trying to tell Tisha, look, you and Destiny need to have a conversation. Because I really feel like there's some things that y'all need to say. You know what I'm saying? To each other. And I feel like, oh, sorry, my head, child. You know, I got to get used to my hair being on my face. It's irritating my ear a little bit. But we'll get to that when we get to the brunch, child. We'll get deeper into it, I should say, when we get to the brunch. But it was just weird to me that I was like, this seems so... It just seemed like Kimmy was having a conversation that was so different than what Tisha was talking about. But okay. So we get down to this place with this drag brunch. Let me say this. First of all, they kept saying, this is a theme party, this is a theme party, this is a theme party. What was the theme? Because I didn't see nobody dressed up in a theme. What was the theme of the party? Second of all, as a proud ally of the LGBTQ community, this shit pissed me off. Because I felt like y'all were using this drag brunch as a prop and not as a real cultural event that drag is. First of all, well, she said new beginnings, sparkles, rhinestones. What was I don't remember hearing it because nobody dressed up the same. Like, nobody dressed up. I mean, was it supposed to be slutty? Like, what was the theme? But Tisha said it was a theme. That's what I'm saying. Tisha said it was a theme. So what was the theme? Because I didn't see a theme. And then everybody showed up and was like, I've never been to a drag brunch before. I don't know what to do. I've never been to drag before. I've never been to a drag show before. First of all, it pissed me off because I felt like even with Kimmy, you really pissed me off because Kimmy came in there and was like, I mean, what's this? I'm so confused. What's happening? What's going on? I mean, what are we doing? Like, I don't understand what's happening here. Like, I refuse to believe that in 2026, y'all don't know what drag is. You may not have ever been to a drag show, but you know what drag is. You know what a drag show is. And even if you did not know, I refuse to believe that production didn't tell y'all nothing. I refuse to believe that y'all didn't know y'all were going to y'all all knew y'all were going to a drag show. So if you've never been to a drag show, Google it. Go on TikTok. Go on YouTube. Go figure that shit out. Because it kind of pissed me off. Like, Kimmy's attitude when she first came in there, it really pissed me off. It just, she's saying real stank about it when she first came in there. And it did piss me off, right? And then as the ladies showed up one by one, all of them were saying the same thing. Yeah, I've never been to a drag brunch before. I've never been to a drag brunch before. And then Trish talking about, I love drag. Well, I've never been to a drag show before, but I've seen it on TV. But I really love drag. Well, if you love it so much, why you ain't never been to a drag show? And why you ain't get them people ready for a drag show? It was just weird. And then it was even weirder because did y'all just rent out this whole venue for just Love and Marriage Huntsville? Because y'all had the host and one drag performer. Like, that was not a drag show. That was a bad caricature of a drag show. If you've ever been to a real drag show, that was embarrassing. And I was embarrassed watching that because that was not a drag show. And if you're going to use drag as a prop, at least make it look good. You had LaLa Ri there. LaLa Ri was on RuPaul's Drag Race. And that's the best. Like, first of all, what are you serious right now? Like, it was a bad. I was mad about it. And maybe I was mad about it. Nettie's in DC was good before they canceled them. She did. She looked horrible. She looked horrible. And it just pissed me off. I just felt like this was a whole caricature, a whole afterthought. It just irritated me. I didn't like it. I didn't like their attitude about it. I didn't like the fact that it seemed like they didn't even try. They just didn't even try. Nell walks in there late and she get an attitude because somebody said she was late. Girl, you were late. The fact that you showed up after the two bullshit performers had already performed, girl, you were late. So we sit down after the performers and we're eating. First of all, the host didn't know. The host thought it was a bachelorette party. So now everybody's like, bachelorette party is a bachelorette party. Who's getting married? Bachelorette party, bachelorette party. Trish was like, I said it was a new beginnings party. I don't know nothing about it being no bachelorette party. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't know nothing about no bachelorette. So I'm like, did we give the host the wrong information? Like, what are we doing here? Did the host just assume it was a bachelorette party? Like, what are we doing here? Then Trish was like, well, it's new beginnings because I'm going to be transitioning out of my job into doing fitness full time. That's what we here for? That's what we here for? So then Trish starts talking about what she got going on, and she can't even get a sentence out. She's stumbling over her words. Well, me and Ken, he did some things, but I did some things too. So now Tisha was like, so wait a minute, both of y'all was cheating? She was like, well, do you trust him? Well, I mean, in the beginning, she can't even get a fucking full sentence out. It's like, girl, you lying because you can't even get it out your mouth. It won't even come out your mouth because you lying. You can't even complete the thought because you lying. She talking about something, I spin the block too. I did my little thing. So do you know what spin the block means, Trish? You know the definition of spin the block? Spin the block means it's somebody you used to date and you circle back around and you do it again. But if it's just somebody that slid in your DMs, baby, that's not what circling the block means. So I was confused by that. Like, is this somebody you used to date, Trish, that you dusted them off? You dusted them off when Ken started acting up, or what? Then she said, well, I got them blocked now. We'll semi-block. I mean, I blocked, they can't text me no more, but girl. I was like, what the fuck is this? What is going on here? So then we got Destiny and Tisha, which of course we know that we're going to get to the Destiny and Tisha of it all. Tisha should refrain from asking questions one cannot ask her. Well, and that's the other thing. After you had this whole situation where your husband came down and when Ken said something to you, you were the last person that needed to be asking questions about Tisha and Ken and their situation. You were not the one to be asking those questions because, again, you already got yelled at by your husband because he said you was being messy. So you were not the person that needed to be asking anything. That was not your place. Like, that was not your situation. Okay. So then we got to talking about, we got on this Tisha Destiny situation. I'm not going to go through the back and forths. I'm not. And I'm going to tell you why I'm not going through the back and forth. Because the more they argue and the more they talk, the more I found out. The minute Tisha said, well, you was hanging out with Martell, and Martell was the one that tried to destroy my family. I said, oh, that's what this is about. I said, ding, 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 ding. None of that other shit matters. You talking about you didn't defend me in rooms that I'm not in. You don't defend me in rooms that I'm not in. We thought this whole time you were talking about Nell. We thought you were talking about Nell talking shit about you and you not feeling like she had your back and she was defending you against Nell. Come to find out, no. That is not what you were talking about. This whole time, you were mad about that shit last year with Martell. That's what you're mad about. And you still mad about it. And you still in your feelings about it. And honestly, just be honest about it and be like, look, I can't get over that shit that happened last year with Martell because I felt like you were letting Martell talk shit about me. I felt like you was in on it. I felt like when we had the field day, I felt like you was being messy and you took Martell's side over mine. And for that, I'm just not good with you right now. But when you try to make it seem like we cool and we good, but I'm mad about Nell and I'm mad about this and I'm mad about that. No, you wasn't mad about. That's not where you were mad about. You were mad about the Martell of it all. And like Destiny said, now Destiny, I do think maybe you might have went a little below the belt when you said the only person that don't defend you in rooms that you're not in is your husband. Now that was a bit much. That was a bit below the belt. But what I will say is this. Now, did y'all peep what pissed Destiny off? Do y'all understand what pissed Destiny off? She didn't lie, but it was below the belt, in my opinion. But she didn't lie. I don't know if y'all peep what pissed Destiny off. Destiny was pissed off. And I know y'all hate when we do this, but Destiny was pissed off when Tisha brought up what happened with Martell showing up at brunch and made it seem like she said, well, you ambushing me and I wasn't cool with that, and you ambushing me, you having Martell show up and you ambushing me. That is what pissed Destiny off. And what if y'all didn't peep what happened, basically Destiny didn't break the fourth wall, but what Destiny said was, I didn't have nothing to do with that. I would never do that. I would never have anything to do with a man rolling up on no woman. I would never do nothing about and I was pissed off about that as well. And me and you talked about it. And what I read between the lines was, that was production. I didn't have shit to do with that. That was production, and we done already talked about it. But now that we're arguing and you kind of losing the argument, now you're going to throw some shit out there that ain't true to make me look a certain kind of way. That's how I took about it. That's how I took it. That's how I took that. Now, y'all, I don't know. Did y'all peep it that way? Because that's how I took it. I took it as, girl, good and damn well production sit that man over there. Good and damn well production sit that man over there. And I didn't have nothing to do with it. And me and you have already talked about that. I didn't have nothing to do with it. And I was pissed off about it. That's what set Destiny off, because Destiny was like, oh, so now we just going to bring up shit that ain't true. So we went from you being upset with me about what I said to Kimmy about you having friendship Tourette's to I'm not defending you with Nell to now you going all the way back to last season and Martell. See, that's what you was really mad about. You were still mad about the Martell talking about something. Yeah, because I don't appreciate people sitting with people that's trying to destroy my marriage, and Martell went too far, and you didn't defend me, and you didn't. Baby, Destiny was pissed off, and then Nell gonna run behind Destiny, and then gonna tell Destiny, "Okay, girl, I'm gonna leave with you. I'm gonna leave with you." And she went back in there and sat down and started eating the rest of her food. I said, "You know what?" Baby, when Nell sat down and finished eating her food, I said, see. But at the end of the day, when Kimmy was trying to resolve the issue, again, I was confusion because I was like, I'm like, Kimmy acting like she don't know what the argument is about, which again makes me question, Tisha, what did Kimmy say to you? See, that's why I said whenever that was, I need to hear the conversation between Tisha and Kimmy, because Tisha, you are not relaying this conversation the way I think it happened. I am confused because Kimmy was confused. Kimmy act like she ain't know half of, and I'm like, isn't that what you told Tisha? But she was asking questions and going back and forth like she was confused about what they was mad about. And I'm like, so then what did she say? Kimmy, what did you say to Tisha? Because it does not sound like what you said matches what Tisha was what Tisha said to Destiny. The two are not connecting here. And again, I know Kimmy ain't been my favorite person these last couple of seasons, but on this one, I think I'm with Kimmy on this one. I don't think Kimmy said what Tisha said she said. I think Tisha heard what she wanted to hear. But I do not think that's what Kimmy said. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. Baby, Destiny was ready for Tisha, child. If I'd have walked in and seen her eating that chicken, oh yeah, I'd have been pissed off. I would have been pissed off. Tisha doesn't listen to understand. She listens to respond, which is why she does not understand. And because the shit does come out, you know, she get mad about stuff that didn't happen. Because you're ready to be mad and you're not listening to understand. You're listening to respond. Tisha be in her own little world, child. But yeah, it wasn't a whole lot to the episode. I mean, I know they made a big deal about this argument between Tisha and Destiny, but like I said, once I heard Tisha say that what she really mad about is that shit that happened with Martell last season, I don't know what else y'all want from me, because Tisha heard what she wanted to hear. Destiny cussed the ass out. Destiny got it. Destiny told everybody to kiss her ass. She told production she was done. She said, "This is a wrap. I'm done. Kiss my ass. I'm out of here. F you," and some more stuff. Baby, Destiny was done with it. But what I can appreciate is that Destiny kept it on Tisha and not everybody else. I can appreciate that Destiny didn't cuss everybody out. She kept it on Tisha. Tisha's growth is stunted just like her mama. Ooh, you better say it again, Kitty Doc. She is exhausted. She is. She is exhausting. She is exhausting. Thank you, Carmen. I might have slapped that wing out of Nell's hand. Child, listen. But yeah, Tisha, I knew that's why I said I wanted to hear the conversation with Kimmy, because I didn't believe from the beginning that Kimmy said what you said she said. I believe that Kimmy said what you heard. But I do not believe that Kimmy went back to you and said you were upset. Just like she said, well, people should, I don't appreciate people talking about me in rooms that I'm not in. Girl, you carry more bones and you talk about more people. Like Tisha, you have talked about everybody in rooms that they're not in. Everybody. And you want from people what you don't give to people. Because you've talked about Kimmy, you talked about Nell, you talked about Destiny, you have talked about everybody on this show. Melody when she was here, you, Stormy, you have talked about Tiffany, you have talked about all of these people when they are not in the room. All of these people. But now all of a sudden everybody's supposed to have so much loyalty to you. You don't give what you want back. You don't give what you want back. Sure. Anyway, y'all. That's it. That's all. I'm about to get off of here. We'll be back at 9:15 tonight for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And that's it. The episode ain't had but 3 scenes, so we ain't got but 30 minutes. We had Nell and we had Nell, then we had Kimmy and Tisha, and then we had the drag show. So we ain't had nothing else to talk about. With that being said, y'all, I will see y'all later. Mwah! Peace.